The Moon People have been one of the most fascinating aspects to the One Piece story, ever since the Enel Great Space Operations cover stories from volumes 44 to 49. Having the already vast lore of One Piece expanding into space is incredibly exciting. And ever since those cover stories released 15 years ago, we have been collectively searching for any piece of information we can about these Moon People. 500 chapters later, we got our first real piece of information regarding the Moon People with the first appearance of King in chapter 925. It was later in chapter 1023 that Queen stated that the name of the race King was from is called Lunarians. The knowledge of Lunarians is something that is kept quite secret from everyone, with Whitebeard being the one so far to have previously explained the kingdom of gods on top of the Red Line before Mary Jo's ever existed. The fact that only a handful of people know about the existence of Lunarians goes with the information that the race is said to be extinct, with King being the only survivor. The events that transpired within the race of Lunarians which led to their extinction have yet to be disclosed. Judging by the nature of King's personality, there is a possibility that he could have eliminated the entire race himself, or perhaps the world government was tasked to erase the existence of the Lunarians, with King being the sole survivor of the attack. I personally believe that the world government was the cause of the extinction of the Lunarians, by the fact that Mary Jo's was later formed where the race was founded on top of the Red Line. During the Void Century War, the Lunarians were a pivotal part of the conflict with the Skypians, since they were so closely tied as collective members of the Moon Race. Before we go into detail about the events that took place during the Void Century, I'll briefly cover the details of Enel's Great Space Operations. After defeating the Space Pirates, Enel discovers various winged races, much like the Skypians on the Moon, with ancient texts depicting many other winged races. Now, for a long time, these races were speculated to be Skypians, Shandians, Birkins, and a fourth unknown winged race. This race can now be known as the Lunarians. Now, the lightning from Enel's Devil Fruit awakened the mechanical automatas that were dormant on the moon for many years. After the reawakening of the automatas, they pledged their loyalty to Enel, and thus he became the leader of the Moon Army. Now, flashback to the ancient war. These winged races visited the Grand Line going from the moon to the Sky Islands, much like how Enel went from Skypiea to the moon. A reason as to why there hasn't been any Moon People since the ancient war is due to the fact that automatas ran out of resources and energy to function. The Lunarians helped create the Red Line as a passage between the Grand Line and the New World, and stayed on top of the Red Line to keep guard and stay safe while the ancient war took place. The Gorosei would later overthrow the Lunarians and take the position on top of the Red Line, creating the Kingdom of Gods, as it is an unbelievably strategic and safe position in the world, allowing themselves to freely passage into any position in the various seas. The Skypians worked on producing air-based weapons with dials, while the Lunarians used their own knowledge and techniques to harness fire. There is a big possibility that the Lunarian race was a key factor in forming the Red Line, as they collectively used fire to harden the seafloor to form the Red Line and stay safe in isolation on top of the Red Line. Members of the Lunarian race could have been potentially stolen by the Gorosei while they were hiding, to be experimented on for various uses such as creation of fire-based devil fruits and learning how to harness fire-based techniques. The many generations afterwards would eventually lead to King as a sole survivor of the extinct Lunarian race. I believe that there are still some Lunarians living, and that the Gorosei and world government wish to have their existence erased to cover up any information relating back to the ancient Void Century War. Enel's return to the New World is one of the most highly anticipated events in the One Piece story. But the biggest question is not a matter of if, but when will Enel return, and what will be done once he returns. As much as I would love Enel to make a grand return and cause havoc in the New World, it is already established that Luffy is the natural enemy to Enel, and that his existence wouldn't pose a threat to Luffy at all. I personally believe that Enel making a grand return as a fun cameo in a future One Piece film would be a great idea, as that would create lots of hype for the film, and it's a great way to bring in Enel without disrupting the current events towards the final war. Another way I can see Enel returning is once the final war has concluded and the story is wrapping up, we can have an epilogue where Luffy is the Pirate King, and Enel makes his grand return with great rumblings throughout the entire world. Great chaos and destruction is spreading the seas with no hope of defeat in sight. And we can see Luffy and the crew have a final confrontation with Enel, as Luffy is the one and only man who can stand against him. And due to the reveal that King is actually a part of the Lunarians and it being called Lunarians, I think it's safe to go and say that this is in fact canon now. It's not really sort of speculation, it's a fact. And tying everything with the fact that on top of the red line, the Lunarians stayed, which is right where the Gorosei were, and how they were the kingdom of God, and now harnessing fire, and that he is the sole survivor of this extinct race. I totally go and see it being extinct due to the fact that during the Great Void Century War, that the Gorosei went and wiped them out, and they went to go on hiding, and now over time, just bits and pieces of the Lunarians getting taken, getting stolen, experimented on, with King eventually being the sole survivor of his race. I don't think that's the case. I think there are more Lunarians out there that are just in hiding, and I believe King would know about this, and other people would know about this. Whitebeard has shown that he knows a lot about the Lunarians, and I think that's probably due to the fact that with the poneglyphs around the world, that they have that piece of information in there relating to the Lunarians, and how they're such an important part to the Great Void Century War. Now, I would love if King made some sort of face turn where he wants to go against the world government because of what happened to the Lunarian race. I'd really go and like that to go and happen and somehow team up with the Straw Hats or with the good guys. That'd be a really cool twist. Just because King is such a wicked character, I absolutely love him, such a cool design, absolute badass. And because he is part of that extinct race, and we can tie back to it being wiped out from the world government because that's where they were situated on top of the red line, I could go and totally see a face turn of King going after the world government. That'd be so cool. Like during the final war or something like that, we could have a reveal of what actually happened, and then eventually King can go on their side, taking them out. That'd be so cool. That'd be awesome. Just give me a Zoro and King team up. I want that so bad. I don't think I'd be prepared to go and see that. That'd be the best. I do believe that during the fight with King and Zoro, there could be more pieces of information being put to King, although King doesn't necessarily talk at all. He just talks with dots in all of his panels. I could definitely see some sort of information, whether it's Queen continuously making more comments in regard to his race, somebody else doing it, like Marco mentioned that Whitebeard told him about the race on top of the red line. I definitely do see more information being released as their fight continues, and I'm all ready for it because any sort of piece of information, like with Mary Jo's, there's so much mystery with Mary Jo's. I just want to find out more with those guys. It's so awesome that King is so tightly knit to like the Gorosei, the red line, all these different mysteries. Being a Lunarian is so cool. And it really shows that the story is really progressing at a rapid rate. And we're getting to that point where now Oda's starting to pull back the curtain on all these different mysteries. And just the fact that he's dropping Lunarians is a huge one. Because over 500 chapters ago, like I said, was when he went and put out the story with Enel going on the moon. So 500 chapters of waiting and speculation on what everything is. And the fact that he name dropped Lunarians is so huge. And it shows just we're getting closer towards the end of the story. All the secrets we've been speculating and making theories on, it's going to be revealed. And I'm so ready for it. So what are you guys' thoughts in regards to King being a Lunarian, the Lunarians' history, the Void Century, Enel's return? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I'd love to go and hear about it. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to go and like and subscribe. I make more weekly One Piece reviews, discussions, and theories, so you can check those out. Be sure to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, and I'll see you all on the next one.